This is going to be Gear Journal. I'm going to talk about my recent setups, all the skates that I'm commonly using. These are going to be the ones that I used in the last 4 or 5 months. Let's get into it. What should we start with? During the winter depression, when the weather is just absolutely horrible, it's snowing, it's raining, it's freezing, it's windy, it's dark. I have a longing to skate black skates, mostly all black with some color highlights. A skate that I'm not afraid to get dirty, land in mud, land in snow. These are the Aeons, and these are just perfect for the purpose. So I skated a bunch of times with the Aeons. I was recording a bunch of tricks. For some tricks, I really prefer these skates, mostly when it's something very freestyle, or the spot is just so rough, so gritty, that I would not use my main skates, my number one skates, that are the USD carbons currently. I tried a bunch of things with the Aeons. I recently tried. I switched to the soft cuffs again, because I kept switching the hard cuffs, the original cuffs, the ones that are the older style, and these softer ones. At first I didn't like these soft cuffs, but then I realized that I could get rid of a lot of pressure on the side of my feet if I just use the softer ones. So I bought the softer ones again, because I had a bunch of Aeons in recent years. I bought a bunch, sold a bunch. Now I'm stuck with, I got two. I got the black ones, the white ones, and I got one extra from my friend Camille. And that skate was very cheap, and I am going to be doing a lot of experiments with that skate, which you will see a bit later during this year. So yeah, Aeons. My biggest problem with Aeons, I got a white feet, and making these shells conform to my feet properly is a tough cookie. I heat molded these a couple times, mostly heated this area where I get the pressure. I get most pressure here on this side. The problem is there's just so much material here. This area is the part of the uni boot, so the plate and the boot is one piece. But getting an extra little protrusion, a little hump here, proves to be quite difficult. Am I going to attempt it once more, because I'm still getting the pressure on this side? My feet is just still too wide for this shell. We'll see. I rarely use this skate, and personally, I don't really feel very well in them. After skating the carbons for about 8 months now, I'm so used to this level of comfort and responsiveness that these ones feel sometimes miserable. So the overall best thing about them is that these are tanks. These are nearly indestructible skates. If there is a crazy, gritty, concrete spot that I want to skate with or without wax, these are my skates of choice. Use the Aeons. Alright, so I tried these recently with the black USD carbon cuffs, and I didn't like them. They fit, I could fit them. They look, I would say kind of better than these soft cuffs. Soft cuffs are not the prettiest. I really prefer the look of the original harder cuffs, or even the USD carbon cuffs. But I just didn't really feel good with the USD carbon cuffs. I'm not sure, this just felt weird. I didn't really felt that I'm getting any advantage by having those on. So I'm just going to be sticking with the soft cuffs for now. Even with the soft cuffs, these feel quite stiff, much stiffer than my USD carbons. Stiffness is good. For my knees just love the stiff boot. It protects me from these awkward bad landings, you know, when you just when you land awkwardly in some kind of negative, some kind of butt test slide position, and your tendons on your knees on the inside are just ripping apart. These skates protect you from that so very well. So even if I skate these, I feel like my knees are getting stronger. My knees after skating these feel much better on the day after. And that couldn't be said about, for example, these two. I'm going to run through these, what kind of setup, other than these soft cuffs. I'm not going to say one word about the soft cuffs. I'm using the UFR insertion liners. I got this rubber. I'm just going to post a picture. I got the rubber heel locker device in. It really helps me lock my heel into the boot. I'm using the 45-degree straps that I 3D printed. These are holding up very, very well. I remember someone was pretty much laughing at this on Facebook. And these are holding up better than anything else. This material, this TPU, thermoplastic urethane, is holding up so well. It is extremely resistant to abrasion. So this will probably last as long as the skates last. Got my old UHMW, I would call these hollowed out. These, I wouldn't say skeletonized, but definitely lightened UHMW plates. I don't really use the slicks plates because those are POM, a bit heavy for my taste. And these are UHMW, quite soft, and these definitely need a rework. If I'm gonna rework these soon, I would probably use a different angle for this side. It's either this should be at an angle, not perpendicular. This should be either this angle or this angle. But also this pocket, I just love to have this pocket for these pole grind spin tricks that I very commonly do, and I was mostly doing them during the last year. I mostly ride these skates with anti-rocker or freestyle, or whatever I'm in the mood for on that day. Usually large soft wheels and whatever bearings that I find in my box. So yeah, these were the Aeons. So these are the Xsjados. I think these are Xsjado Avants, but I converted them to this newer Xsjado 2.0 style boot with the Eugenenin Eclipse liners, and these toe flaps, they definitely help a lot to hold this area much more tightly. I'm mostly using my Xsjados for recreational use. By that I mean I just go out, roll around, look for spots, enjoy rolling, enjoy having skates on my feet. I mostly use this with this frame, but not this setup. I mostly ride this thing flat Biggest problem, it is extremely heavy and it comes with all the negatives, all the disadvantages of having the shadows on your feet, 3 points of contact. It's quite disconnected feel, so I normally don't skate these aggressively or for any trick or any trick that I'm just a little bit serious about. So I'm mostly just rolling these because I just love the look, love the feel, love the suffering that I get from these skates. I bought the UFR Anthony Potier skates in black. These came out in black and white, full black and full white. So you could pick, or you could buy two and mix and match. I bought the black ones, mostly for the liner, only for the liner to be honest. I wanted to sell the boots, but I also do some big wheel recreational skating. And during that time when these came out, when I ordered them, I realized that these boots go so well with the Trimax 110s that I just kept them and I started using them. And to my surprise, these worked so well because 110s to me require a lot of support. And these boots, I never really, after I tried these on, I never really thought about skating these aggressively because they are extremely stiff. They are a raised heel boot. And they're not just a raised heel boot, they have a very weird curvature to it that your heel dips down a bit. So it has a arch, a very high arch. Your heel dips, feels like it dips below your arch. And this one is even lower. So it has this very S-shaped profile for the sole, which feels quite weird to me. I never really thought about using these aggressively, and I will probably won't. As for big wheeling, I just love the support. I'm using the Xsjado CJ Prime liners because these are the copycat Intuition liners. These are the cheap into liners. So it helps you get into the Intuition thing. I'm also using this with cuff straps that I cut a bit more V into it, a U. I skipped that. I cut out just a little bit of material to give it a bit more backward flex. Backward flex helps a lot with strides, and also if your boot is just a bit snug on your feet, then you will get less pressure in the frontal area whenever you do a longer strides, let's say. These Trimax frames, I bought them used. I really wanted a black boot for big wheeling. I'm not really a big wheel person. Sometimes when I feel that I don't have any kind of spirit or mood to do any aggressive skating, I just go out and skate like an hour, just roll around on big wheels, visit a few nearby spots just to roll around them. I bought the Icon wheels. Probably this is one of my favorite compounds, the Icon Access compound. I'm not sure what, let me check. These are the 85A hardness 110 Icon Access wheels. I tested it. It's a bit slower than the 88s, but it's definitely much more comfortable than the 88s. And roads are just pretty bad here, so I'm going to stick with 85As. Alright, so that's all I had to say about my FR UFRs. I'm not really, I don't really know much about big wheeling, so I'm just an amateur when it comes to that. So let's move on to things I know about, which is aggressive skates, USD carbons. These are my ultimate skates. These are my super weapon skates. I am feeling the most competent skater with this setup, this skate. Sometimes I skate the Aeons, then I switch immediately to, so I skate them back to back. So they come from Aeons, then I switch to my USD carbons. I could just do anything with so fewer tries with the USD carbons. It's probably mostly the fit and the feel, the responsiveness. I noticed that I get much better ankle articulation with these skates, much more direct feel, even though I'm not a responsiveness freak. So I mostly orient my skates into this Goldilocks area of having a comfortable ride but keeping it enough responsive. Because let's say with premium liners and with a few modifications, I could turn these into something super responsive, but it wouldn't be that comfortable as this setup. I'm going to get into the details real quick. I just started skating the FR UFR cuffs on these skates because the USD carbons are really bendy, really floppy sideways. I'm quite a tall person. I'm around 189 centimeters tall, around 188. So I'm just a bit taller than average, and I'm not really the lightest person around. So I get quite a lot of sideways flex with most skates, with most scuffs, and I'm still working on what are the ideal cuffs for me, for this setup, for this skate. Currently I'm using these FR UFRs, mostly because I was skating the FR light cuffs that you've seen in previous videos. Those cuffs are extremely light, but they are not as supportive as I need them to be. And I can skate them. There's no problem with them. The problem is the health effects. The health effects were when I started skating just a bunch of rails, just a bunch of intense sessions on taller than usual spots. So pretty much anything taller than my knees around the down around mid thigh area. I started having knee problems because since the cuffs weren't the FR light cuffs weren't enough supportive. That was putting strain on my knees. So I developed a few more knee problems. It's not that I needed them. So currently I am skating I would say probably these are one of the stiffest options I could get that fit this skate. Mostly just to protect my knees. I don't really feel much difference skating wise. So performance wise, trick ability wise, I don't really feel much difference between these ones and I always forget what these are called. It's either FR high, so there's a huge difference between these two. What I like about this cuff is the weight. It is ultra lightweight, mostly with the 3D printed plastic. This mounting part. It's super light, but I definitely need more support than this. And I also love the look. I love how minimal this is. I really like this structured. Also, the new cuffs made it just a bit heavier. I don't really remember from the top of my head what is the weight difference. I'm sure that these are the lightest cuffs I own. These are around 104 grams without any hardware, without any extra parts. The weight difference between the two cuffs are around 30 to 40 grams, but I'm obsessed with reducing weight. But if lower weight results in health problems, comfort problems, then I won't be saving on it. I also noticed a few problems. One more big problem with this boot, which could be from factory or could be my wrongdoing. Notice that the frames are very overly positively biased, at least visually, but they also felt like it. They also look like it when I look down. I'm going to show it to you on this photo. You can see it. I stuck some 6mm long bolts into them just to make it visible that something went wrong. That I don't know, maybe it was I was heat molding them and I started using them way too early after heat molding. So I got this very strong the frame got angled in a positive bias, and it was a bit too much. It was also putting more strain on my knees. So instead of I built a whole rig just to try to shape it back into straight, but I didn't start to mess around with too much heat molding again. So I just started using a bunch of these are some kind of special industrial shoe midsole material. I started putting up layers of them for several reasons. One of the reasons were just to fix this positive bias, and the other reason was to accommodate this new sole plate much better, because this is fully flat, and I noticed that the carbon's sole is not really fully flat, mostly because of my own doing. It has this special extra pre-printed sheet skin in the middle. I felt that the frame is the sole plate has a bit of a curve to it, so it curves upward at the ends, and it really made my grinds unstable. And also this sole plate is not the stiffest. It's UGMW. It's quite soft and bendy, but I'm going to make some modifications to it a bit later during this year. So I eliminated this positive bias just a bit. I think it still has some, which is not really a problem. It's a bit useful, but I don't think want to have more, because this used to be just even more, like 5 to 10 degrees more this way, without these sole sheets that I applied for the two reasons that I just explained, just to make the sole, the bottom of the boot, more flush and straight, and also to correct this angle. So I know that this was just a bit of a longer one, but I really wanted to make this gear journal, blade journal type video. I hope you guys get some inspiration out of it, and I'm going to call it because it's getting too long. Thank you for watching.